Hello and welcome to the Organic Gardening Podcast. My name is Sarah Brown and this episode is a little add-on to our usual monthly podcast. If you remember, in our last episode we heard Chris chatting with Debs Goodenough, former head gardener to the Prince of Wales. Debs is a lifelong organic grower and has had many years working in formal public and royal gardens. It was therefore particularly special that she took Chris round her own private garden on the Isle of Wight. It's a delight to hear two seasoned gardeners chat and sharing their wisdom with us. Every time I've listened to this conversation, I've learned something new from them. I should perhaps mention that Debs and Chris met back last autumn, in case you're wondering why at one point she mentions preparing for winter. And as always with outside recordings, that pesky wind seems to want to be part of the conversation. But before we dive straight in, I just want to thank our sponsors, Viridian Nutrition. Viridian produce a range of award-winning ethical and organic supplements, which include vitamins, minerals, herbal oils and balms. I love the way they call themselves the Vitamin Company with an Organic Heart. Their supplements are stocked in over 1,000 specialist health stores across the UK. So to find out more, visit viridiannutrition.com. That's Viridian with a V, -nutrition.com. So come with me now to join Chris and Debs in the garden.
We're here on the Isle of Wight, but we've got a north-facing garden.
Right.
And so it does have its limitation. When we were looking at the property, we couldn't afford it because it was outside our price bracket, but the price dropped because it was being overlooked by a whole series of new built houses behind it. And so the price dropped to where we could just about afford it.
Yeah.
And we came in and planted trees. And so you can see our trees.
Are they hornbeams, are they? Or? Oh, wow. These are... right, I'm just going to walk through this two lovely olive trees, which are very beautiful there. And then, so you've pleached them, haven't you?
We started off by just planting them as standards. And we let them grow. And that was silly, Chris, because they basically grew. The Isle of Wight is a lovely growing area. And they just put up they got up to be about 40 feet high. And because you can see that we actually have them nicely shaped now. So that
it's an incredible bit of pruning.
Yeah. So we took one side off one year and we cut it right almost back to the main trunk. And then we took the other side off the following year. And then the third year, we took the tops out. And that's made a really substantial stilt hedge, I would call it. But what it has done, because we let them grow up as trees, they put on really substantial trunks.
Yeah, they've got thick girths on them, haven't they? They really have.
It's really worked very, very well.
And also, you're north facing, that's a superb way of just cutting the wind speed down in the garden.
It has. What's nice is that you can't see the houses behind us. They have lovely autumn colour. They keep their leaves virtually
I'm a big hornbeam fan.
I love hornbeams, yeah. And then we've underplanted with box and yew. And so it's quite a a little bit of formality.
Yeah.
It's wonderful because if you notice, we've got bird boxes, but we've also got squirrel boxes. Here we encourage squirrels.
Right. Well, you know what? That's very rare you'll hear a gardener say that. So do you think by encouraging the squirrels you're taking, they're not feeding on other things? Are they causing less damage or?
Well, no, it's red squirrels here on the island.
Oh, of course. Wow.
We didn't have red squirrels when we first came, but there was only 6 trees in the garden when we first bought the property.
Yeah.
And we've got to have 30, 40 now. It's given them the protection to actually come in. And so they run around along the hedge now and come all the way into the courtyard.
Wow. So you've created a habitat and you've also created somewhere where they feel safe.
That's
and
right.
they obviously get a bit of grub into the bargain too, yeah.
And we planted hazel because they love the hazel. So we've got that along the stream side.
And will they come for the hazelnuts and stuff? Is that what they're... Yeah.
And so they'll do that and then we feed them peanuts. They love that.
So I'm looking at a pottage bench. Well, this is your nerve centre in a way. There's seedlings everywhere. So what goes on here?
It's just such a nice space to be in. And I stick my earplugs in, listen to organic gardening podcasts.
You'll be our favourite guest now. You said that.
And it's just a case of I can just escape. And also the thing is, figured out how we're going to put a set of cold frames here. So we've actually got an upright set of cold frames that we had just built into where our oil tank used to be.
They're very beautiful, aren't they?
I like wood. It just does take me back home because they're cedar. And it's just a case of I can just tuck everything in here.
So you've put some coleus to bed here, some begonias, so they're going to overwinter in there.
Well, they're staying here. It's a halfway house until I have to actually bring them in the house. But it's all the sort of cuttings that I've done.
I'm just looking at that. So you've got rosemary cuttings here.
Yeah. Oh, that's a special rosemary.
Is it? Tell me about that special rosemary.
That's one that was growing at Ventnor Botanic Gardens, and it was raised by Sir Harold Hillier, and it's one that's called Sheila Dore. And it was named after the superintendent's wife at Ventnor, and it's the most wonderful blue, and it's been sort of lost in cultivation, so I need to get that.
That's quite special. Is that a little hill cutting, is it, or something? Or
yes, and I've got something that I'm going to show you on propagation, which my husband Simon ran the temperate nurseries at Kew,
yes.
And he always talked about dew points. Have you ever seen a dew point?
No, go on then, tell me about that.
Really quite expensive to buy brand new, and I said, well, I wonder if they ever be on eBay. And I looked, I said, we got it for sort of half price, and it's just the most amazing bit of kit, which I will show you, because you can tuck it away in your garage. It's all set up.
So this is it's like a mist unit, basically. Is it? No, is it different from a mist unit?
It basically has a set of lights. It has a water bath, like an aquarium.
So there's like a reservoir in it.
A reservoir of water, and then it's just a closed case.
So almost like a cold frame, same structure as a cold frame with a reservoir, a heated base, I take it.
That's right.
Yep.
And it uses low energy. It's tucked away in the cold garage, and you're not supposed to put it in a greenhouse. But the nice thing is I can just close it up, fill it up with cuttings. Seed is, you can use it for seed raised well, but cuttings work really, really well. And it's just a nice, humid environment.
Wow.
And I put roots on things I've never put roots on before.
Really?
Yeah. And the thing is, I can walk away for it from 2 to 3 weeks.
And because of the reservoir, it's keeping
the reservoir of water, and it just keeps everything humid.
Brilliant. That's a really nice, nifty piece of kit. So I suppose the thing with it is it's hot bottoms, cool tops is what you're after with cuttings, is that?
Well, that's and it's not dripping with moisture. They're just in a humid environment.
Because if they get too warm on the top, they tend not to produce the roots, don't they? You end up with so they'll actually put on growth in. You think you've got a cutting, and then you dig it up and.
Yeah, that's right. And the other one that I've used is I've started using orchid pots.
Yeah.
Because you can actually see the roots.
Right, so it's like a see-through then. You can, translate, yeah.
And they work really well because they've got lots of aeration at the butt base.
Yeah.
And they work really well for sort of...
That's a good tip. That is a very good tip.
The only problem is that, Chris, I have an addiction to propagate plants. And, all my friends that come around, they go, oh no, what is she going to give us today? And that's fine.
I'm sure they're loving it for you. I'm sure they will, yeah. So I'm just looking here, yeah, I'll just describe quickly because there's loads of seed trays, cell trays. You really are on the march with the propagation, aren't you? And this is stuff growing on behind us here.
Yeah. And I either have plants that are sort of earmarked for our two sons have got gardens that are just in development. We take care of the community, sort of some community space.
Right.
So I've got things that I'm growing on for there. And they've often sort of said, is there something, you can do for this area? And we go, just leave it with us. And so we make sure we tidy it up, and then we're planting things up, and, cost is nothing in that.
You're like the practical application.
I mean, someone said, oh, you should sell plants. And I'm thinking, no, I want to give plants away. I want to give, and then, you know what that's like, Chris.
It's very satisfying to, especially when you're dealing with, if you're doing the woody stuff, the shrubs, the trees, because you know that's going to be there for a long time in many ways. It's not transitionary in any way. There's quite a permanence to it, isn't there?
And there's a lot of plants that have been given to me, and so you propagate them, and they've got that sort of sentimentality from the person that's given them to you, and then you can move them on, and you know that they're going to survive and last, and
brilliant.
Be out there. Another little tip is that we often always boil too much in the kettle, so I make myself a cup of tea, and if there's a little bit left over, I come and pour it on the sort of patio where I don't want weeds, and so I'm sort of using hot water.
Right, to not, you don't need to go out and buy chemicals when you can just use what's left in the kettle, basically.
That's right. And actually, for the most part,
it's beautiful. Yeah, it's a very, very rustic-looking patio, weed-free as far as I can see. It suits the building beautifully.
This is my little veg patch.
I was going to say, I see the edibles here. We've got some asparagus. That looks pretty healthy.
It's doing all right there. Lots of different beans. I grow a variety of different beans. Celeriac from the HSL.
From our Heritage Seed Library. Brilliant stuff.
And again, John's purple carrot. It's one of those ones where...
Yeah, I grow John Purple carrot. It's a good.
Nice.
Yeah, I actually lifted some yesterday. Believe it or not. Yeah,
that was the carrot cake that we had a bit.
Was it
earlier.
really? Yeah, brilliant.
And so it's it's at the point where I need to sort of tidy it up for the winter and things like that. And it's not a very big area, so we have the problem about ornamental versus productive, and I'm more productive, and Simon, my husband's, more ornamental. He'd have just cut flower, and so I have.
But I bet he'd miss the fresh beetroot.
He's a really good cook, so that's where we sort of get to a compromise. And
brilliant.
And the other thing is I use my veg area, and there's very little open ground because I just fill it or I grow things on, and so I move things about, and it's a little bit higgledy-piggledy because if there's a gap, I fill it with something, and it may not be a crop, it might be just a plant. But
I like that kind of potage effect, isn't it? That kind of mixed site again.
It works. Lots of fruit trees. We've got plums and gages, and I think we've got 10 different apples.
This is you like the fruit. There's a lot of lovely fruit here, yeah.
And I've got some really nice, basically growing up as I did, just making things with it, jams. I don't like chutneys. I'm not a big chutney fan, but it's a case of lots of preserves. I'm making lots of cordials.
Lovely.
So mixed cordials, our mulberry and our blackberries are doing really well. But I'm also learning, and this is the thing that, as I'm getting older, learning to edit the garden so it's a bit easier to manage.
Right.
And also thinking, well, one red currant, I had 2, and I've decided, well, I don't need that. I can use that space for something else. Starting to edit out what I don't need, and also to make sure I've got enough light in the garden because we planted so many trees that we were starting to get too shaded.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's a case of, I think you can see our plums. We have taken
You've taken the crowns back. And you need to be a little bit brutal sometimes, I suppose.
Absolutely. And you've got to make sure you get the timing right. So it was a case of before the end of September, I've got all my plums and gages pruned down hard.
And you can say, they cause problems if you prune them too late in the season.
Well, with silverleaf. And I think you, as gardeners, someone was saying, you know how to do everything. Well, no, we've made the mistake. I've killed a plum by pruning it the wrong time. And, silverleaf is not it might look pretty, but only for a
little while. I love the expression, gardening expression, wisdom is born from error.
And, I think we've all got a catalogue of errors that we've done, haven't we? There's a lovely set of espaliers that had been started here, and it's a wonderful sort of framework for that sort of terrace that we've got there.
It's beautiful. They're beautiful plants. Very, very big. They're a few years old, aren't they?
They've got to be probably 30 years old.
Yeah.
So those 2 trees were here, and they just needed to be sort of given a bit of TLC.
Yes. Yeah. So they've been restored and brought back to health. Is there any tips you'd give for that? Do you mulch them regularly, or do you do any feeding? Well,
they get the regular mulching, but it's also here that I need to spur prune them more often because sometimes, we want to encourage more and more, and actually they're fruiting too well, and the fruit's getting too small, so I actually need to reduce the spurs on them and keep them sort of more in check because they're very happy where they are, and we've got a lot of natural sort of spring lines through us, so they get good moisture here, and so they're growing extremely well. Because look, I summer prune these, and look how much extension.
There's a lovely. I mean, that's a good foot and a half, isn't it? At least half a metre. And so basically you're not just spurring them late winter, you're spurring them again in the summer as well.
That's right, and it's a case of they are very happy.
Got your leaf mould in there.
Oh, what we do is all the hedging that we had, we just throw it on the lawn and we chop it up with the mower.
Right, and that goes in that. So I imagine that breaks down. That's a mixture of leaf and clippings. That must break down quite quickly.
It does break down reasonably well, but I'm kind of too sort of impatient. Yeah. And so once I've got the veg area clear, usually around about January, I throw it on there, and it will break down the final amount over the season, and it keeps that sort of ground warm so that when I'm actually sowing into it...
You've already got warm soil.
I've got warm soil.
Very clever.
And I often turn these once and make sure they've got lids on them where I can. Look at the worms.
That's lovely. It's absolutely full of worms, isn't it?
That's just crazy.
And that's a beautiful.
I'm scared to put the lid on because they're all in the lid. I'll leave that open.
Oh, look at them in the lid. They're everywhere.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, that's a healthy compost bin. And I love the smell of that. Is a very nice, it's healthy when you can get that smell from it.
When we replaced our carpets just recently, I made sure I recycled as much of the carpet as I can and made lids for my compost area.
So you got your big tub, and then you've got your your leaf and cuttings, and then you've got that cut out carpet keeping it sealed in, basically.
That's right. And sometimes, if it's been dry, just take the lids off so that they get rain on
Yes,
them. This is where we have a badger that comes through here, and I kept finding that the carpet kept getting thrown back, and I was thinking, what's doing that? There are big rats around here, and then I realised it's the
badger was having a
and it's a case of that's how it is.
Do you remember at Kew, because they gnaw at the edges of the paths, don't they, to get the beetle larvae and stuff, and because you are creating a little habitat for them, aren't you? And
I can show you the badger latrines we have. That they're very neat about everything.
This is very beautiful. I mean, you've obviously got. I mean, there's got some lovely hydrangeas and Philadelphus here, and so you're obviously quite keen on your shrubs.
Very keen on my shrubs, and there's some lovely people in the Woody Plant Committee, and I've had such wonderful advice from them, and how to grow hydrangeas. And Morris Foster, who is a wonderful hydrangea grower, I was saying, well, how do you choose which ones? He said, well, you choose hydrangeas for the size that you want them to be, and then you don't have to do so much pruning. So if you want a space to fill that's 3 foot high, you hit
them back to that.
You choose a hydrangea that only grows to 3 feet.
Yeah, okay.
That makes so much sense. And if you want something that's big, you get a big hydrangea, and then you don't have to prune them so often.
So if you just do that little bit of research, then you find that you've got a more manageable garden, basically.
Absolutely. And it's all of us. We all sort of jump in and just get, that looks nice, I'll get that. But we really do need to.
I just think a little bit of homework, which doesn't take that long, or to seek a bit of advice is always quite a good thing to do.
Now, lovely. Look at this. Do you recognise that?
This looks like a bay of some sort, is it? Wow, that's got a very thin lanceolate leaf, and it's a bay, is it? A laurel? Wow, I've never seen that before.
It's one that angustifolia, and it's just such a wonderful one. It's great, and it clips really nicely. But it's one of those ones that people go, I think that's a bay.
That's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. So it's a really heavily cloaked tree as well, isn't it? It's a lovely thick crown on it.
Oh, it's really nice. It's the amount of bird cover that we have in the garden, which is just fabulous. And that's one thing that I don't know my birds that well, and I'm trying to learn. And His Royal Highness was.
He's a bit of an expert on it.
But just to give the cover, and that was the thing that he always wanted, lots of planting around the house so that there was more.
That's why he's got a lot of climbers on the building, Highgrove, and he's quite cloaked that building. And that garden's not a garden without the song of a bird, is it? It just doesn't. So you give them as much cover as possible. I must admit, I like the way the magnolia, the two contrasts, the two foliage. It's very nice.
Nice is we've planted all the hedges we've put in.
There's a touch of Highgrove here, isn't there, with the undulating topiary.
Really?
Yeah, I can see an influence there. Yeah.
Actually, it gets to be a little bit addictive, clipping things, and I try not to do.
It's very therapeutic, isn't it?
It is.
It's very, very puts your mind at peace totally.
Yeah.
And this is a yew hedge, and it's undulating. It's very nicely shaped.
Yeah, but we also have.
You've got malice apple trees coming through the yew hedge, which are all in fruit at the moment, and that's very beautiful.
Makes it really difficult to cut the head.
You can't go mad round it. You have to be, it's a secretary's job, or at least some sheep shears, I expect. Yeah.
But it's one of those ones that in time we probably will take out one or two of the apples and just go. We've got to be realistic about how much we can do.
Very beautiful. Look at this. And this, you're going for it here. This has got a bit more exotic down here.
Well, when we bought the property, we thought that there was a stream beside it because it's called Sheepwash Cottage. And it goes down to an actual sheep wash, which was actively being used back in 1955 because our neighbour across the road said, oh, yes, as a school kid, we used to come and watch them dip the sheep. So we had a digger on site and we dug out the stream.
It's just stunning. And that's got a real feel of a botanic garden to me.
Well.
It really has, just like a lot of large shrubs. Good fern. Is it a Mosmunda or something here?
It is.
It's a beautiful fern.
Well, it colours really nicely.
And then the brook, which means you can do your hostas and whatnot all along. Wow, aroids, beautiful.
So only about half of this area is ours, but we got a grant for the community to plant the other side. And so we put in a few sort of corners and shrubs along there, and the community really liked that. And so we've really taken over that and gardened.
And this is a this bit of gardens for the whole village, basically. Yeah, brilliant work. I suppose you'll get in there and prune it, but it looks after itself quite well.
Well, that's what we try and do, so that there is a fair bit of input, but it's really nice to be in the stream.
Well, it's a soak away, isn't it? Because it's obviously on a lower ground here, so it's just draining that water down. Yeah.
And what's nice is that the soil on either side, you can see it must have been it's been happening for centuries. There's beautiful soil on either side to plant into.
Yeah.
The plants, when you put something in there, it grows like mad.
Oh, and that's stunning. It really has. I'm going to say it again. Got that feel of a botanic garden, without a doubt.
We do have people, because we're on a lovely walking route here, and people keep saying, "Oh, we come by and see what's going on," and it's nice to see it year on year. What I'd like to think is that people come and also have a little bit of horticultural sort of thought. They sort of go, "Oh, I like that," or "I do that."
So you're giving them ideas then, is what you're trying to inspire them, or you are inspiring them.
And the thing about it is, it's not absolutely pristine, and I don't look at your park's background, because we need to do the edges, and we do a really good sort of tidy up at certain times of year, but it's also the aspect of just letting things go a little bit. Soft edges.
Well, it's got that, it's a woodland garden feel, isn't it? That's which is really beautiful. Yeah. It looks full of primroses, so that must be looking pretty spectacular in the spring.
It's stunning in the spring. It's pulverulentus.
Yeah.
I did a bit of design work when I first started in horticulture, and it's that aspect of when you're down on the roadside, you look up the stream, and it draws the eye up, because it's the repetitive pink all the way up.
Stunning.
Caltha palustris, the kingcup, all the way up.
I know, they've got stilbees in there as well, hellebore. A little dogwood here, which is a beautiful red autumn colour, and then the red winter stems.
It does sort of give season round interest, and that's what we try to create. And we've thrown a few apple trees along the edge, so that on the green side there is fruit for people to pick.
So people just come along and help themselves,
Another compost heap. Here we go.
So this is what you were saying about having satellites of composts production around the garden, which makes absolute sense now. Look.
That's fresh.
And then you've got this beautiful loam here,
Isn't that wonderful?
That's that lovely chocolatey sort of crumbly.
And that's only a year.
And you can see it. You've just got some in your hand, and you pull it, you can see it, sticky brown soil. So that's actually going to your propagation as well.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're going through a gap in the hedge. And, wow. Look at that. And this is your cold, long-term compost.
This is a long-term. This is going to be sort of 5 to 7 years. And we've been probably composting here for that period of time. And you can see it's got everything that we don't want to have in the garden. So it's where my celandine comes.
Yes.
Bindweed.
Yep.
Mare's tails. Anything that you think, that's not really good, or a little bit of the woody stuff. But it's this is on the parish ground.
So it's not in anyone's way, and it's going to serve a real purpose, isn't it?
It's a huge habitat pile.
Yeah, massive,
Absolutely huge. And then at some point, we can actually start digging into it.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a long term, but it's probably 2
This is broken up, isn't it?
Yeah.
This has been chopped up more finely, and it's going to decompose quicker, yeah?
That's right. And where we're standing, we dug out. And a lot of the compost that came out of here has gone back into the garden along the stream side. You can feel how soft it is.
Yeah.
What we'll do is we'll turn this once, probably sometime next year.
Right.
And that will give us, it will sort of have that opportunity to sort of break down a bit more.
Yeah, perfect.
But the other thing that I always use is in between the veg bed, I put my grass clippings, I put some of my compost directly just onto the ground.
So you're just using it as a mulch as you go as well,
That works really well. Like grass clippings can, for our lawns, they're not all grass. It's got clover, it's got all sorts, but it really does make a nice clean path between your veg. That was something my mum always used to do.
Right.
And it worked really well. And then at the end of the year, it's just sort of, it goes back into the ground.
Direct mulching then, really, yeah.
Really, really good. I've got so many people say, well, what are you creating on this topiary piece? And I kind of go, well, I think it's just Deb's whimsy.
Why not? Yeah.
It's sort of what I decide it's going to be that day. I'll start clipping and I'll go.
Yeah. It's looking very, very. It looks regal. Let's call it that.
I laugh because it was in a nursery and it was almost a dead stick.
So you've rescued it as well.
I did, and don't we all do that?
Yeah.
I said, well, how much for this one? They said, just take it away, please. The family always just said, "Oh, Mum, what are you going to do? That's not going to work."
Yeah. Well, it's an art form in its own right, isn't it?
It can only go that high because that's as far as.
Otherwise, you'd be on the ladder again.
Simon trained as a groundsman.
Yeah.
He suffers by not having enough lawn.
Yeah.
But it's a case of it's full of herbaceous material and bulbs.
So that's very cottagey, isn't it, that area? That's a good way to describe it. Is bulbs and lots of, again, geraniums, herbaceous geraniums, that kind of stuff. Montbretias, is it? Things like this. So very and it's very loose, and I'm sure it's very beautiful in the middle of summer.
And we're always editing it. So the geranium silostemon have just become a bit of a thug.
Yeah.
So we're going to take out more of that. We love our peonies. Ferns have done so well, we've been moving them out. That's going to be a spot for another peony there. And it's a case of, we just kind of come through and...
Yeah. And play with it, yeah. And what's interesting as well, from an organic point of view, is that I don't see much bare soil. You really fill it out, don't you? And that reduces maintenance. And
I have to say, again, Simon, who trained in parks and things like that, wants to be really neat and tidy, and it's a case of, I actually quite like this. And it's become where we do leave the herbaceous material almost to the point where it's at a point where, okay, it is time.
It has to go. Well, I would always leave the heads on till late winter if I can, early spring, because you're protecting the root ball, and also quite a lot of spiders and stuff will love to live in it.
Yeah. And and sort of the different light, looking at it at different times of the day, it looks really nice. It is full, and I like the smell of it. I love the smell of water. That sort of slight decay.
Yes.
You can smell the earthiness of it.
I think it reminds me, you can feel the soil sucking everything back in almost, can't you? It's quite a nice way to look at it. That letting go you described earlier,
And so now we're trying to hold back and sit on our hands on a few things.
It's so tempting as gardeners, because we just so love out doing it. It's a bit like, I love to dig, and I've got now I realise the soil does it by itself. I have to sort of sit on my hands and go, don't do it. Because nature does so much of it for you.
But it's learning that where you should and shouldn't.
Yeah. Brilliant. And thank you very much for the tour. It's absolutely amazing. Brilliant. What a wonderful garden, and what a wonderful chat, may I say, as well.
And thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our organic gardening podcasts. Every month we have a new guest, plus helpful tips and advice on how to grow the organic way. And I really don't want you to miss our next episode. Chris and I will share with you how to prepare for the growing season ahead. And I get to learn all about birdsong. What could be better to herald spring just around the corner? So press the subscribe button now. Bye for now, and our thanks again to Viridian Nutrition for sponsoring this episode.